After spending 5 months performing transactions on the Mantle testnet, it is quite disappointing to find out that they are not doing an airdrop. Instead, they'll be launching this Mantle Journey campaign, and I'll be going through the details and whether it's worth participating in it. Mantle won't be doing an airdrop, and instead they have this campaign which is quite similar to the Linea Voyage campaign that was done on the testnet. But this time, this will be on the mainnet, so all transactions will cost you real life money. To participate in this campaign, the very first thing that you need is this Mantle Journey soulbound token, and you need to pay a certain amount of MNT tokens as fees as well as gas. So based on my previous transaction, this cost roughly about 0.7 MNT, and this equates to about 32 cents in USD. There are two main ways that you can profit from this Mantle Journey campaign. And the first one is really just based on your luck, because depending on the transaction hash where you have minted your soulbound token, first 5,000 users who have minted that contains a particular number will receive about 100 MNT, and this will roughly give you about $45 in USD, which is not the best, but at least you get some funds back. The second way that you can receive rewards from this program is via the Mantle Journey mouse, and you stand to share a prize pool of about 20 million MNT, so this is really quite substantial. So it mentions that each season lasts about several months, and you need to accumulate points known as MJ miles. The first season has already started on the 29th of August, and depending on the number of miles that you have accumulated, you could receive certain prizes like NFT trades, part of the prize pool, and whitelists for new airdrops. There are a few ways for you to earn these MJ miles, but this doesn't really explain the details, which you can then find them out in this blog post that I'll leave a link in the description. Every on-chain transaction that you perform on the Mantle network will earn you 10 MJ miles, and this is capped at 1 million MJ miles. So if you do have the funds, then you can perform 100,000 transactions on the Mantle network to receive the maximum points. But I would say that the gas fees on the Mantle network are pretty expensive. So these are all of the transactions that I've performed so far. Most of them cost between 0.2 to about 0.4 worth of MNT tokens. It could cost you about 20 cents per transaction. And if you perform 100,000 transactions, then this will be a significant sum that you're spending. And if you do have a lot of funds available, then you can either deposit or bridge $500 worth of assets into the Mantle network to gain 1 MJ mile. This is the Mantle bridge, where you can bridge quite a few tokens over to the Mantle network. But the main problem is that this bridge only supports the Ethereum network, so that means that the gas fees will be very high. And for this example, I'm bridging my Mantle token from Ethereum to Mantle, and this will cost me $3 in the gas fees alone. I would say that this task is mainly for whales who have a lot of money to spend, and for simple airdrop hunters like you and me, I do feel that it's not worth depositing your tokens just to get these miles. Another way that you can earn these MJ miles is by holding MNT tokens. So for every 500 MNT or wrap MNT that you hold, you receive 1 MJ mile. And this would mean that you need to have $200 worth of MNT tokens to just receive 1 mile. And depending on the funds that you have, this may not really be worth it. The final on-chain contribution that you can perform is by interacting with verified protocols. So for this season itself, there are 2 protocols, which are FusionX and Acne, and both of them are decentralized exchanges similar to the likes of Uniswap or PancakeSwap. So to get these extra miles, you need to add liquidity into these networks. If you intend to perform these transactions, then I would like to highlight the risk of impermanent loss, where you may not receive the same amount of tokens that you've deposited if the tokens changes in price while you have deposited them into this pool. If you do intend to perform these transactions, then I would suggest that you deposit your funds into the USDC USDT pool, because both of them are stable coins, and this will mean that they do not fluctuate too much in value, so you reduce the amount of impermanent loss that you incur. Before we carry on with the video, I have a solution that could help you keep track of all of your different airdrop activities. So every Sunday, I'll be sending out a weekly newsletter on my Substack, which goes through all of the different airdrop activities that I've performed for that week. And all of them will be categorized based on the different networks that these activities are on. Some of these tasks have already helped me to earn airdrops, just like the Connex airdrop, which I mentioned in my previous issue that I sent out all the way back in June. By signing up to my newsletter, you'll also be able to gain access to my Notion airdrop tracker, where it shows you all of the different airdrops that I'm currently hunting for. And within each section, you'll be able to see some of the guides that I've already created for that specific airdrop. To receive all of these benefits, do subscribe to my newsletter, which I'll leave a link in the description below. And the final way that you can earn these miles is via transactions that you have performed on the testnet before the 7th of July. And these are the criteria. You can earn up to 500 miles depending on these activities, including how often you have performed the transactions, whether you have created a smart contract, whether you have breached funds or voted on snapshot. And the last part is to participate in governance. This task will be dependent if any proposals get raised on Mantle snapshot, which is seen here. If you do have some MNT tokens, then you can vote for any proposals, just like what I did for this proposal that ended about 2 months ago. You need to delegate your MNT tokens to either your own wallet or to another wallet that can vote on your behalf. You can delegate your MNT balance that is either found on the Ethereum mainnet or the Mantle network. And what I did was I delegated my balances to myself so that for a future proposal, I would then be able to vote on these proposals and earn these MJ miles. But again, this depends on whether any proposals are raised in the first place. So you may want to keep an eye out for it. And you can also subscribe to my Telegram group where I'll post any updates if any proposals are raised during this period of time. So the ones that I'll be prioritizing will be to perform on-chain transactions. So I'll be giving you some examples now on some transactions that you can perform to increase the number of miles that you own. The first one would be this Omni-based NFT. So this is actually powered by Layer 0 and you can choose to mint this NFT. This is actually quite expensive and it will cost you about 40 cents on top of the gas fees. After you have minted this NFT, you can then bridge to some of these networks. And since this is powered by Layer 0, it is sort of killing two birds with one stone as you are performing a Layer 0 transaction as well. I played around with all of the different networks to see which one has the lowest fee. It is actually when you are bridging to base where it only costs about 0.78 MNT as compared to if you bridge it to Arbitrum, it costs you 2.1 MNT. So I would suggest that you bridge it to the base network. So in this way, you have already performed 2 transactions and you should get about 20 MJ miles just by this one step. So right now, Holograph has also launched this Layer 0 NFT. So this will cost you about 0.2 MNT for the protocol as well as the network fee. So this will count as one transaction as well. But the only problem is that if you go to the bridge page, you mentioned that bridging NFTs to and from Mantle is currently disabled, so you'll only be able to perform one transaction. However, it is also still possible for you to create a single NFT on the Mantle network. So I've already done an NFT that is deployed on both the Polygon and Avalanche networks. So you can choose to deploy it on the Mantle. And if you do want a guide for this, you can check out my Layer 0 video, which I previously did, that shows you the entire steps. So in this case, I can deploy this collection on Mantle as well, and that will give me another transaction. If you'd like to see all of the miles that you have accumulated so far, you can go to this profile page. And right now I have about 550 miles. I'm not too sure whether that is a good thing or not. And do let me know in the comments how many miles you have already accumulated. So these are just some examples of the transactions that you can possibly perform on the network. And I would say that I would not really prioritize this campaign too much because it's mainly suited for whales that have a huge amount of funds in their wallet where they can afford to perform lots of transactions. In my case, I'm not willing to put in so much effort into this campaign, and I'll just be performing a few transactions here and there to at least earn some miles, and hopefully that will be converted into a pretty good reward, because right now there's no leaderboard, so I do not know where I stand as compared to the other participants in this campaign. Another campaign that's ongoing that allows you to bridge certain NFTs to the Mantle network is known as the Pandra King campaign, and this could help you to get 2 different airdrops, and more details about that can be found in this video here.